So, hello everyone, I'll kick things off. My name is Rosie and I am an examinations contractor here at the Ophthalmology Foundation. Thank you so much for joining this webinar today, where we're going to give you a bit more information about our examinations. Just before I hand you over to our incredible panel, I just wanted to give you a very quick overview of who the Ophthalmology Foundation is. So the Ophthalmology Foundation aims to improve global healthcare through education, especially in under-resourced countries, and it's been in operation for the past 5 years. We run several programs in education, in fellowships, and then our latest initiative, which is examinations, which is what we're here to talk to you about today. The Ophthalmology Foundation is very much an international organisation. We have a board of directors made up of global members and then an examination specific committee as well, also made up of members throughout the world. So today we will just be running through a bit of information about our exams, and then at the end we'll get to all the questions that you submitted upon registration. If you have any questions throughout the webinar as we keep talking, please feel free to drop them in the Q&A box at the bottom of your screens and we'll get to them at the end. So to kick things off, I just want everyone, all of our panelists, to introduce themselves. So David, if you could give yourself a quick introduction to the attendees.
Yeah, good morning. I'm David Pyatt, and I'm a co-founder of the Ophthalmology Foundation and vice president responsible for exams.
Thank you. And then Carlo Fredo, if you could please introduce yourself.
Thank you very much. Hello, everybody. I am Carlo Fredo Rizzo, Carlo, if you prefer. I'm currently the deputy director in charge of teaching at our hospital to prevent blindness in Mexico City.
Thank you. And Nicola?
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Nicola Quilter, and I'm the examinations director for the Ophthalmology Foundation exams. And I come with around 20 years of experience in ophthalmic education.
Thank you. And then finally, Vicky.
Good afternoon, everybody. My name is Vicky, and I'm an examinations administrator for the Ophthalmology Foundation.
Thank you. So to kick things off, David will be giving us a presentation. So David, I'll just share those slides. Give me 1 second.
Hola, buenos días, compañeros y colegas. Hace mucho tiempo fui gerente de una división de Novartis en Barcelona y hablando con su jefa, la doctora Sánchez Huerta, compactamos que voy a hacer la presentación en español y al fin, si a ustedes se sienten más cómodos hacer preguntas en español, muy bien, o inglés va también. Entonces, me gusta mucho presentaros la historia de la fundación y también qué son los exámenes. Please advance the slide. Entonces, ¿qué hacemos? La fundación fue fundada hace 5 años, como antes mi compañera. Fui fundado por mí, Jim Meso, que fui el jefe de Johnson & Johnson Vision, y después Carl Zeiss Meditech. Bruce Spivey, el ex administrador de la AAO, o la Asociación Americana. Y en mi cargo fui hace mucho tiempo y durante 17 años presidente de Allergan en el mundo. ¿Qué son los objetivos nuestros? De una parte, ayudar a los oftalmólogos a convertirse en mejores profesores. Y al otro lado, patrocinar becas para facilitar residencias de 3, 6 o 12 meses, principalmente en Estados Unidos, Europa, en algunos casos también en la India. Como se ve en esta pantalla, formamos una junta de directivos, de una mano representando los mejores oftalmólogos del mundo y de la otra mano los jefes de la industria. Como se ve en este listado, tenemos los mejores oftalmólogos representando cada continente, cada región del mundo, y los CEOs, como se dice, los ejecutivos más altos de las industrias en América y también en Europa. Y al fin, muy importante, me agradezco haber nombrado su jefa, doctor Sánchez Huerta, que es miembro de la Junta desde el otoño. Y Bayar, como se dice, muy bien con su cargo como representante de la IAPB, que es la Organización Internacional para Prevenir la Ceguera. Next slide, please. Ahora vamos a ver qué son los ejes de la fundación. Y quizás empezamos a la derecha por fondo con los exámenes. Y yo mismo voy a comentar más al fondo qué son estos exámenes y también mi compañera, la señora Quilter. El segundo programa es Faculty Development. Esto es adecuado a compañeros que han pasado un tramo como estudiante, después residente, y ahora son probablemente especialistas de alguna especialidad como el glaucoma o la retina. Esto como nuestros colegas pueden mejorarse como profesores. No es la ciencia misma, pero los métodos para mejorar la educación y la comprensión de la materia. Por tercero, quiero apuntar los fellowships. Estos son becas y la fundación es la organización más grande del mundo que ofrece becas, casi 100 por año. Y muy importante, a partir del año 2027 es mandatorio haber pasado una de las partidas de nuestros exámenes para recibir una de estas becas. Finalmente, el cuarto programa es Accreditation y aquí ofrecemos un programa de reconocimiento de calidad de un centro que ofrece educación a residentes. Next slide, please. Ahora vamos a comentar más los exámenes. Esto es un examen, o en realidad un examen que es comprimido en 3 partes. Para empezar, y comentó en inglés, Visual Sciences, después hay Optics, Refraction and Instruments, y finalmente Clinical Ophthalmology. Son las 3 partidas. Es un examen que es ofrecido online y por comodidad de los participantes pueden hacer el examen en su centro o en otro centro, en este caso en las ciudades principales de México. Es muy accesible y esto de intención ofrecemos precios económicos y nuestros exámenes son más económicos que otros exámenes que son similares. Los precios, la primera partida para Visual Sciences en dólares americanos son $2,050. La segunda partida, Optics Refraction Instruments, es $175 y finalmente Clinical Sciences, $350. Los exámenes ofrecemos 2 veces por año y como se ve en esta pantalla, el próximo es el 26 de marzo y finalmente otro en septiembre. Y las fechas de registración son apuntados. Entonces, para marzo cerramos la registración finales de este mes. Los exámenes son ofrecidos en partenariado con Wills en Filadelfia y Wilmer. Y esto es basado en el miembro de la Junta, porque Peter McDonald, jefe de Wilmer, es miembro, y también la doctora Julia Heller. Next slide, please. Me olvidé comentar que los exámenes también son ofrecidos en partenario con la Panamericana en Latinoamérica y otras organizaciones similares en África y Asia. Ahora, si vamos más en fondo en los exámenes mismos, los exámenes son basados en la dicha BCSC, son los fondos de la Academia Americana, y también tenemos un grupo de voluntarios, gran expertos de cada región del mundo, que escriben las preguntas y forman todo el rango y el formato de los exámenes. Para ofrecer otro beneficio, mi mujer y yo ofrecemos una beca para asistir a uno de los congresos grandes del mundo. Probablemente para ustedes es interesante asistir a la American Academy of Ophthalmology, o quizás al ARVO, que normalmente es en Florida, o ASCRS, el Congreso para los cirujanos. Next slide, please. Entonces, ¿qué son los beneficios? ¿Por qué presentarse para los exámenes? Para empezar, es bastante flexible. Entonces, ustedes pueden presentarse al examen en su centro, en el APEC, o si están viajando en otra gran ciudad de México. Es una manera para compararse sus conocimientos con pares en situaciones similares en todo el mundo. Muy importante, es una manera para lograr un título prestigioso, y aquí se ve EOFF, International Ophthalmological Fellowship Foundation. Esto es necesario pasar todos los 3 partidas del examen para lograr este certificado y título. Entonces, yo creo es bastante para presentar de mi parte. And now I'll pass over to Nicola Quilter, who will take you through some of the details of exactly how the exams are offered, and also what is to be found inside those question banks. So I pass over to Nicola.
You're on mute, Nicola. Sorry.
Sorry. Next slide, please. So the examinations are structured into 3 sections: visual sciences, optics and refraction and instruments, and clinical ophthalmology. All use a single best answer format, with 1 point per correct answer. And you'll be pleased to hear that there is no negative marking, which means if you're unsure of the question, you can move on to the next, and then have an educated guess later on in the process. And we'd say an educated guess because, again, there's no negative marking, so you're not going to be penalised for having that educated guess, but you may just get it right and gain an extra point. But actually, that could make a big difference in your score. Visual sciences is 120 single best answer questions over a 3-hour period. Optics, refraction and instruments is 60 questions over 1.5 hours. And clinical ophthalmology is 160 single best answers in 4 hours. As you can see from the list here, these are the subjects that each paper covers, and the questions are split in between those. So anatomy, for example, has 30 questions. So they're weighted depending on how relevant they are to the subject and training. And we also offer exemptions from the visual sciences, optics exams for eligible candidates. And those are the candidates that maybe have passed an ICO qualification, COEXA qualification, and also one of the Royal Colleges of the UK. So that would be Glasgow, Edinburgh, or the Royal College of Ophthalmologists. We do translate these papers into several languages, and one of those being Spanish. And our online portal allows seamless translation between the English and your chosen language, which would be Spanish. So it presents on the screen in English, and on the bottom left-hand corner, there'll be a button that you can click, and it will translate it into Spanish. You can then move seamlessly in between the two languages. Majority of the trainees, candidates would opt to take in English, but I think it's important to say that we're not trying to test language, we're testing your knowledge. And so therefore having the Spanish as a backup, shall we say, and the English as a backup, whichever way you wanted to view it, it just allows you to move between the two and make sure that you're confident in actually what we're asking. And the questions, the exams are mapped to the BCSE curriculum, and we provide a suggested reading list of materials via our website. We're also collaborating with Cybersite to create a dedicated preparation portal to support candidates further in preparing for the exams. And this is very exciting. It's been going on for a few months in discussion, and we hope to have that implemented within the next few months. But it will be roughly 250 questions that are relevant to the Ophthalmology Foundation's exams, the visual, the optics, and the clinical. And trainees, once you're registered, will be able to go onto the portal and test out the questions, which I think is important as well to get the style of question and understand what we're asking and how we're asking. It just makes it easier to go through beforehand so that you're fully prepared. And next slide, please, Rosie. So this is an example of visual sciences question. As I said, we're not testing language, we're testing your knowledge. So you will see quite repetitive questions in the style that we're asking. So regarding the blood-retina barrier, which one, so we're looking for one answer, correct answer, of the following statements is most likely to be true. So what that means is that there could be two that are close to being true, but we're looking for them, which one of the following statements is most likely to be true. Now you also see down the A to D, so there are 4 options. They are listed in alphabetical order. Again, it's much easier for a trainee candidate to go through and be able to read them and then refer back to them if they're in alphabetical order. So you'll see from the left-hand side that they're in alphabetical order. Next slide, please, Rosie. This is an example of the optics and refraction. And again, which one of the following is the orientation of the streak of light when performing retinoscopy for astigmatism? Again, which one of the following? So you see it's quite repetitive in the style. And again, A to D is alphabetical. Next slide, please. And for clinical ophthalmology, because the exam is presented online, we're able to use fantastic photographs and also videos. So again, we're talking, this is a clinical question, so slightly different in the way we're asking. We're looking at the patient illustrated, or the photograph illustrated to the patient. And then again, A to D, alphabetical. We're also looking for the most appropriate in this. So also we can upload pictures of scans, so CT scans, MRI scans, Snellen charts, etc. So clinical will definitely always come with photographs and videos. Next slide, please. And just before I go on to candidate experience, I just want to say that the exams are delivered fully online. I think as David told you a few moments ago, and that's just making them accessible to candidates wherever they are in the world. You sit in a controlled environment in your own country, and it's monitored by a human proctor as well as AI. And the AI proctoring looks at eye movements, any background noise, movement of the screen. So they're definitely there's a double layer of security, and they are offered twice a year. I had the privilege of going to the American Academy this year and got speaking to some of the trainees that had taken the exam in our March and sitting. And they've said already that the impact it has had on their career has been immense. And as one candidate told us recently, passing the exams opened doors that they never thought was possible. And that's also linked to our fellowship program with the IOF. And they've now been able to apply for fellowship, and I think they're taking part in their fellowship experience next year. As you will see from these candidate experience as well, they are very positive. They took the visual and optics, one of them, and it was a unique experience. And so very positive feedback. We also had fantastic feedback about where candidates can take the exam. And we have 100% success rate in accommodating candidates where they are located. So if you actually go on to the application form, which is online, and are unable to see a centre that is in your region, in your location, you can either email us and we'll do our best to accommodate, or you can select other and move through the system and let us know on the online portal where you'd like to take the exam, and then we will do our best. And as I said, we have a 100% success rate with that at the moment. Next slide, please. Here is our QR code. You can scan the code and it will take you to further information. But I just want to say that looking ahead, we have ambitious plans as an organisation. We aim to reduce costs even further, add more partners globally, and increase access to underserved regions, expanding our offering with additional fellowships and subspecialty exams. And I'm excited to say that from September, we will be offering a retina and glaucoma examinations. And they will be 120 questions over a 3-hour period. And then hopefully from March 2027, we'll be introducing an additional 2 in subspecialty. So once you've been successful in a clinical exam, you'll be able to move on to subspecialty. I think it's important for us to say as well, we listen to our candidates and colleagues. So if you have any feedback or ideas that you'd like to see in the future, then obviously please let us know, because we believe your help and input helps us to continue to evolve and improve. I think every candidate who takes our exams becomes part of our global community as well, committed to eye care. So we're really proud of these examinations we've achieved so far, and we're determined to make them even more accessible, relevant, and impactful for the years ahead. So thank you for your time today and listen to my presentation.
Thank you very much, Nicola. I'll just stop sharing my screen now. Vicky, if you wouldn't mind sharing your screen, and the team at APEC can then present their slides. Just while Vicky's getting that set up, I'd like to reiterate that if anyone has any questions, please drop them in the Q&A box below, and our panelists will answer them at the end of this. Thank you.
Thank you very much. If I may interrupt, please, can interrupt. I just like to introduce our General Director at our hospital, Dr. Valeria Sanchez Huerta.
Hi, David. How are you?
Hola, buenos dias, Valeria.
So I've been listening to all the presentations. I don't know if you want us to speak in English or in Spanish, and then you'll just translate it later.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, please, for all of those attending, either pose your question in Spanish, and we'll do a quick translation into English. It'll depend how technical it is, whether I answer it or whether Nicola. And we really want to make you feel part of a journey here together. How do we improve, at the end of the day, patient care? And thank you, Valeria, so much for joining our board.
Okay, so we'll just make it mixed, okay?
Mixed, yeah, mixed.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
Bueno, buenos días a todos. Soy la doctora Valeria Sánchez Huerta, soy parte del Ophthalmology Foundation desde hace un par de meses. Ahorita el doctor Carlos les va a presentar la parte de APEC y yo hablaré un par de minutos sobre la trayectoria en educación y por qué creemos que es muy importante que seamos parte de tomar estos estudios y estos exámenes como parte de nuestra preparación.
Thank you, Victoria Sanchez. Thank you all. If you allow me, I will speak in Spanish now and then translate if you want. Nosotros en la Asociación para Evitar la Ceguera en México estamos muy interesados en poder progresar con esta colaboración. En primer punto es que coincidimos plenamente desde nuestra misión. Aquí les muestro la misión de la PEC, que en pocas palabras, pero muy sustanciosas, se divide en tres partes. La primera, proveer de un cuidado oftalmológico de excelencia con calidad y seguridad, especialmente a los pacientes de bajos recursos. Segundo, formar oftalmólogos. Y tercero, desarrollar la investigación. En los tres puntos, pero principalmente en el primero y el segundo, es donde vemos los canales de comunicación con Ophthalmology Foundation. Can you help me with the next slide, please? Thank you. Quienes estamos por parte de la PEC con ustedes hoy, ya lo escucharon, la doctora Valera Sánchez y su servidor Carlos Rizo, actualmente a cargo de la enseñanza. Nos interesa principalmente detallar cuál es la relevancia de los programas de Ophthalmology Foundations para, primero, los miembros de APEC. Disculpen que empecemos por nosotros, pero estamos ahora ya como sede del examen, y después también hacia las otras personas que estén interesadas dentro de la Ciudad de México y área central, pero también sobre las oportunidades de futuras colaboraciones. En primer lugar, la doctora Valeria Sánchez, como ustedes ya han escuchado, es parte desde hace un par de meses del board, específicamente para la parte del otoño de este año, y por eso estamos también muy involucrados. Pero también porque somos un centro del examen local, es decir, nosotros a partir del año pasado podemos ya recibir a médicos, oftalmólogos que estén tanto en la residencia como en becariato interesados en esta evaluación. Es por supuesto la evaluación que ya nos han presentado, pero que pueden presentar físicamente en nuestras instalaciones. Dentro de las oportunidades de colaboración, sobre todo lo que vemos es el contacto con la formación y la mejora académica, la mejoría académica de oftalmólogos en general, desde residentes hasta adscritos, pero sobre todo incluir, o más bien además incluir a profesionales del cuidado de la salud visual, no solo oftalmólogos, sino optometristas y de otras áreas, sobre todo enfermería quirúrgica oftalmológica. Y finalmente, encontrar estos puntos de contacto para desarrollar tanto las capacidades, las habilidades de docencia como de mentoría de nuestros oftalmólogos en México, en contacto con estas oportunidades que tenemos por parte de Ophthalmology Foundation. If you allow me, I will now ask again Dr. Valeria Sanchez to talk to you about our more philosophical contact with Ophthalmology Foundation.
Gracias, Carlos. A ver, nosotros en el hospital creemos que una manera importante de ser evaluados como médicos especialistas es a través de la examinación. Tenemos el PUEM, it's a national exam given by the university for those in the other side of Mexico, pero entonces tenemos el PUEM que es parte de la currícula que tenemos que presentar porque si no, no pasamos al siguiente año académico. Muchos años estuvimos con el ICO, el International Council of Ophthalmology, porque era parte del hospital para nosotros mismos también empezarnos a comparar con Estados Unidos y con otras partes del mundo. Después el ICO empezó, hubo muchas cosas que nos hicieron ya no confiar en los resultados que estábamos obteniendo para nuestros alumnos. Le estoy hablando de APEC como enseñanza. No estábamos obteniendo lo que requeríamos del examen, que era realmente evaluarnos como sede hospitalaria de médicos en entrenamiento y que ustedes médicos también vieran cómo se estaban sus conocimientos comparando con otras partes del mundo. Y cuando empezamos a ver o voltear hacia el Ophthalmology Foundation, encontramos que hay una parte académica, o sea, más humanitaria, si así lo queremos ver, además de que a través del Ophthalmology Foundation podemos acceder a otras partes de entrenamiento. O sea, aparte de ser parte del Ophthalmology Foundation, nos podría abrir las puertas a irnos a rotar un mes o 3 meses, dependiendo de dónde estén entrenándose y tener el reconocimiento de sus conocimientos para así ser parte de esas rotaciones. Entonces, era algo como un poco más orgánico y es cuando entonces empezamos como APEC a voltear hacia el Ophthalmology Foundation como herramienta para evaluar a nuestros propios estudiantes, además de que buscamos el OCAP de la Academia Americana. O sea, tiene un valor agregado muy importante para nosotros como oftalmólogos. No estoy hablando de la parte académica hospitalaria, sino como oftalmólogos que nos podamos comparar con otras partes del mundo, creo que vale toda la pena, porque además es una manera de evaluarnos si tenemos que afinar o mejorar en ciertas áreas o podemos soltar unas áreas y mejor enfocarnos en otras. Entonces, creo que ser parte del Ophthalmology Foundation y que nos den la guía y que ellos nos vayan acompañando en los temas académicos es algo que nos va a ayudar como profesionales individuales, ustedes como estudiantes, independientemente de la parte institucional, hospitalaria, académica. Entonces, creo que vale la pena que conozcan también esta trayectoria y que le den ese valor a tener este tipo de exámenes en su currículum personal para, para su crecimiento. Gracias, gracias.
Fantástico, gracias para el resumen. Veo que apuntamos temas muy similares. Entonces, para todos los participantes, podáis hacer sus preguntas o por audio o si es más cómodo escribir en la caja. Hay una caja de preguntas en la pantalla y que es más cómodo para vosotros. So I was just saying for the English speakers that they can either just pose the question or they can write their question into the question box.
Great. Thank you, David. I actually believe we have some questions prepared that Vicky has that some of the attendees have sent to us when they were registering. So thank you very much. And hopefully more will come in through the Q&A box. So Vicky, I'll hand it over to you to hand out those questions, please.
Thank you, Rosie. So the first question we have is, I saw on your webpage that you have a suggested reading list. However, have you considered creating guidelines in order to unify the knowledge of all three areas, visual sciences, optic and clinical, and make it worldwide available, such as the ADA or AHA? David, if you could.
You know what ADA and AHA is?
Not to my knowledge, no. Let me check it.
Let me just check.
Arnold, si estás ahí, ¿nos puedes contestar a qué te refieres con ADA o AHA? Por
We're just
favor.
asking what that is. Maybe while that's coming through, another really good source of material is, of course, the American Academy's online really compendium of knowledge, which is really supporting the so-called basic clinical, basic sciences materials. That's called the ONE, the Ophthalmic Network of Education. And as Nicola was commenting earlier, in cooperation with Orbis, another of our very close partners, we're working on really a mock exam, or if you like, questions that will help you prepare for each of the sections. Let's
Also, just to add that the questions, as we said, are mapped to the BCSC, and obviously we're not asking you to go and repurchase and read that, but we have consolidated that down into a shorter list, so that you can actually refer to, and that's on the website. So I think that's important to say. And the reading list also as well supports the BCSC. So it has a list of books that are relative to that, and also free websites. I think there's a very good one, interactive one there of glaucoma, for example. So definitely look at the reading list. And if you do have any suggestions or recommendations, then obviously welcome those as well. So yeah, so head over to our website. If you would like a copy sent to you, then obviously we'll email one of us and we'll be able to send that directly.
Yeah. Quizás puedo responder en español. Yo creo detrás de la pregunta fui quizás pensamiento si es mejor prepararse para el examen en el total y las secciones o partidas individuales. Y yo creo, como se pasa muchas veces con exámenes de cual tipo, es mejorar prepararse sección por sección. Es más fácil. Do you want to go to the next question? And of course, if we didn't answer this properly, please, whoever asked, please reformulate. Entonces, para la primera pregunta, si no han respondido adecuadamente, por favor, reformular la pregunta. So now we go to the next question, maybe. I think it's Vicky doing this.
Yes. How can I register for the exam?
Nicola?
If you go onto the Ophthalmology Foundation website, it will there's a link on the first page, the landing page, that you click on. It will then take you and direct you over to our online portal. And what that requires is for you to submit, add your details, including a nice self-portrait photograph, which is clear, so we can identify you. And then it will ask you to upload either your medical registration or any certificates that are relevant to exemption if you're just planning to take our clinical exam. On there, you'll be able to select the exam centre that you wish to take the exam in. Again, if you can't find the one you're looking for, tick other and then type where you'd like to take the exam. And then from there, it will take you on to our payment portal. I think we haven't said before, and I apologise, but I think it's important to say that we also have an inbuilt payment system. And what that allows you to do is to register, pay a third of the total amount for the exam, and then and press proceed, and then you'll be registered for the exam. And then subsequent to that, the following month on the same date, you'll receive an automatic email to pay the second amount, and then subsequent to that, the third month. And so the payment is split over 3 months, which I hope will be able to be more accessible for candidates to participate. We will then receive an email to say that you've applied. We'll review all your details and documents, and then if we have any questions, we'll contact you through the portal or via email, and hopefully then accept your registration, and you'll receive a confirmation email. So it's all done online, and the results as well are uploaded to your online portal. So we pride ourselves in the turnaround of results. I think it's very stressful if you've taken an exam. You want to know how have you done? How have I passed or I've been successful? And we aim to turn those around in 14 days. I think credit to the team, Rosie and Vicky, we've been able to do that. I think in March last year, we did that within 10 days. And then in September, we turned the results around within 8 days. So we give ourselves 14 days just in case. But 8 days has been the quickest. And that's what we'll aim to do again this March and September.
Thanks, Nicola. En español, fui muy satisfecho que nuestro equipo ha presentado todos los resultados para todo el mundo en menos de 14 días. Ahora se ve el valor de nuestros sistemas técnicos. Entonces, yo creo el primer examen fue en 10 días, en el segundo en 8 días. Entonces, muy, muy rápido. Y esto es muy bien para la conciencia, porque somos siempre, me recuerdo como hombre más joven, somos angustos de recibir el resultado. Entonces, muy rápido. Valeria, any question to what you
Yes.
heard from
No, just to
Nicola?
answer Osiris' question. Osiris, si estás ahí, y la pregunta es si se puede, si pueden haber otras sedes. A ver, yo creo que depende del número de estudiantes. Ojalá y se puedan hacer los exámenes de el Conde y que todos los alumnos apliquen y entonces se abren dos sedes o tres, depende del número. En otras ocasiones lo que habíamos hecho con el ICO o con otros exámenes era juntarnos y dividirnos y unos días nos íbamos a tu sede y otras acá. O sea, lo mejor es concentrarlos a todo por el tipo de exámenes y no importa en dónde. Si tú quieres que sea en el Conde y nos aceptas a nosotros, nos vamos para allá o viceversa, o si el número de alumnos que aplican es suficiente para que sean las dos sedes, no creo que haya problema. Aquí el mensaje más importante es que sepan que cualquiera, no importando en qué hospital o en qué lugar de la República estén formándose, pueden usar, en este caso ahorita APEC, o si se abre la sede del CONDE en ustedes, y que tengan un lugar seguro donde poder aplicar este examen, porque muchas veces piensan los doctores que por no estar en un hospital tan grande no tienen la opción o la oportunidad de acceder a este tipo de evaluaciones. Entonces yo creo que es cosa de, vi que ya te vas a poner de acuerdo, no sé si con Nicola o con David, pero eh, creo que estamos abiertos y lo que queremos es darle la facilidad a los alumnos y a los médicos en entrenamiento de acceder a este tipo de evaluaciones para su preparación.
That was just Valeria for my British colleagues saying, we can offer various host centers, not only in Mexico City, but also across the whole Republic of Mexico. And
Right.
as Nicola was saying, literally, as we went around the world, every time we had an application, we finally found a center to host, in a very, very convenient, close by location. And that's because we have so many friends across the world. And a good anecdote was I was in Thailand in November and in the north of the country, and the head of department, so somebody in a very similar role to Dr. Sanchez Huerta, was saying to me, not only is it very convenient to do it online, but of course you don't have to spend money traveling across the country, and that's time and then hotel bill, railway ticket, plane ticket, so you're saving money yet again, and that really proves my point about being accessible, and also why we priced the exams the way we did, because it's not because lower is worse. It just means that we are very determined to offer a high quality product at an accessible price, because at the end of the day, we want to help ophthalmologists be better ophthalmologists and then improve patient care. So, it's a mission of the heart, if you like. Any other questions that you can see, Vicky?
You're on mute, Vicky.
Mute.
Sorry about that. We have another question. Whereabouts in a trainee's career would you suggest taking each exam? So, which year would you suggest taking visual?
So it's a recommendation. So we recommend that the visual sciences and optics and refraction exam is taken in the trainees' first and second year of training. and the clinical ophthalmology in the third, fourth year of training. However, it depends how confident you are and how confident your trainer is in your ability. So we have some trainees that opt to take, they're successful in visual and optics in their first, second year, and then opt in the same year, because we're running twice a year, to take the clinical. And if you're confident and you're happy to do that, and time allows you to do that, then we don't have any restrictions on it. Purely from our point of view, it's just a recommendation. And again, it depends on how that fits into your training program. For example, in Yemen, they have a 3-year program. You may have a 4-year program. So again, we're very flexible. There's also no time limit. So if you passed visual sciences, for example, in your first year and decided to have a 4-year break before you then attempt optics, then that's also allowed. And we don't have any restrictions on how many times you can sit for a particular exam. If you pass, then obviously you don't need to take it again to improve your score. But if you take it and you're not successful for whatever reason, then you can take it as many times as you need to be successful. And I think it's important to say that we want you to succeed. So we have all the materials and supporting information, etc., to achieve a pass. But I think if you don't, for some reason, then I think, you need to be positive in your ability. And we had a really good article. We were working with someone in Indonesia recently who took the exam and unfortunately wasn't successful last year. And he wrote a good article, and Rosie will be able to send details on here about what to do if you don't succeed first time. And I think that's important as well, to keep that in mind, that, if you fail, then pick yourself up and go for it again, because you're probably very close.
Thank you very much. The next question we have is, what are the benefits of taking the exam?
I think David touched. Oh, sorry, go on.
Shall I take that one? Well, I think
Yeah, sure.
both I and Dr. Sanchez said very similar things. I think to start with, it's a real way to show what is your standard of knowledge versus those who are in a very similar moment in their training or their passage to being a fully qualified ophthalmologist, or even, an ophthalmologist in subspecialties. So you get an international comparator. I think, like doing anything, it's always nice for all of us to be able to put letters after our names to prove that we have achieved something great. Hence why I mentioned on that slide that once you've passed all 3 sections, you become a fellow of the International Ophthalmology Foundation. And of course, over time, this will get more and more recognized. And I think that is a reflection of the quality of the board of the Ophthalmology Foundation. And I didn't show you the list of volunteers who are on the exams committee, but once again, it's some of the best ophthalmologists of the world. One great one that has happened is from Wills in Philadelphia. The exams committee member is Dr. Christopher Rapuano, and he just happens to be the president of the American Academy of Ophthalmology this year. So I think that shows you the kind of level of the people who offer their valuable time. Valeria, anything you'd like to add from your perspective? Because, of course, you see across the world, you see for IAPB across Latin America, and then, of course, even more important, you see the Mexican point of view.
Yeah. So I think it's very hard to try to teach everyone the same thing in different continents and countries, right? Because in the United States, medicine is completely different than our reality. So the things we need to learn is completely different than a resident in the United States, even in regions inside the USA. So I'm gonna go to Spanish. A ver, lo que sería increíble es que este examen no es para pasar. este examen lo deberíamos de ver porque si no tengo los conocimientos suficientes, mínimos, estandarizados del resto del mundo, me debería de preocupar la atención que yo le voy a otorgar al paciente y realmente mi motivo de hacer oftalmología, que es curar la vista de los demás. Entonces, si lo queremos ver como, ¿qué voy a ganar si lo aplico y paso o no paso como un requerimiento? Pues no lo aplican. No lo apliquen porque entonces nada más están buscando tener una palomita más. ¿Qué sí veo de positivo si no están preocupados por el tema académico y de formación? Las relaciones en el resto del mundo, fuera de México, las relaciones en México, eh, el poder aportar si hay algo que nos esté faltando como Ophthalmology Foundation, en donde deberíamos de mejorar, enfocarnos las nuevas tendencias ahora con todas las herramientas tecnológicas, pues también es una manera de aportarle al mundo para los nuevos oftalmólogos y los que vienen atrás de nosotros. Entonces, creo que hacerlo no es nada más, lo pasé, no lo pasé y ahora qué voy a obtener. Van a obtener reconocimiento, van a obtener la posibilidad de ingresar a otros hospitales en rotaciones, van a tener acceso a diferentes webinars y en la Academia Americana de Oftalmología o en la Panamericana o aquí en México pues es un plus más en su currículum vitae. Pero si lo quieren ver por todo lo demás, creo que también es la responsabilidad de nosotros como oftalmólogos y futuros profesores que ustedes van a ser, de lo que queremos para los nuevos alumnos.
Muy bien. I think for my English-speaking colleagues, Valeria did a fantastic job explaining why, I mean, also in her own personal journey, how to be a better ophthalmologist, how to really improve patient care. But of course, also in taking this exam, you become part of a group of ophthalmologists around the world with relationships. And as I stated, after exams, you can progress, if that is what you want, to do a fellowship. And of course, when I listen to the fellows, they have created relationships for life, whether it be with an institution in the United States or in the Great Britain or Germany or Australia. Those are typically where, and Spain for that matter, where people go and spend their fellowships. And people, of course, take lots of learnings home from those institutions to improve the program, the residency program at their own institution.
Carlo wants to add something that we missed out.
Thank you very much. I just want to add or to underline the fellowship opportunities. That is, although this is not a direct consequence from the passing the exam, but besides the recognition and the accreditation, we have the opportunities of different fellowship. David just mentioned at the beginning, a month, 6 months, I think. I'm not quite sure.
1, 3, 6,
3
7,
months is the
6.
most common.
Yes, thank you very much. So we can not only send or propose our residents in that manner, but also we want to receive them. We want to contact with other ophthalmology foundations, local centers to receive them in Mexico. Básicamente que queremos también ser no solo sede para recibir estos becariatos o fellowships de la Ophthalmology Foundation, sino también promover a los alumnos que vayan. No es una consecuencia directa y automática de pasar el examen, pero sí es involucrarnos más con estas oportunidades.
You have more questions in the box, Vicky?
So we have one last question, which is, how would you suggest revising, like time-wise, for candidates that are working full-time or have families? What would your suggestion for revision time for the exams be?
This is preparation time. Nicola, do you want to answer that?
I think again, it's a personal perspective, isn't it? I think you need to be confident that you have time to prepare. We would say give yourself at least 2 months, psychologically to say, right, I'm going to take this exam, I'm going to apply and take it, and select the date. I think it depends whether you have family. We understand, you've got family, you've got work commitments, you've got hobbies. So this is an additional examination as part of your training program. So I think you need to make sure that you're going to set yourself up to give yourself the best opportunity of being successful. I think also, we have 2 sittings. So if you're looking, you've joined the webinar today. If you feel fully prepared, our closing date is at the end of February for the March exam, and you've given yourself, a good few weeks to be able to prepare for the March exam. But then equally, it's, you can then plan ahead and prepare for the September exam. So again, I think it's personal preference. And personally, for an exam that I was going to take, I'd like to be fully prepared and know that I can fit my schedule of prep and revision into my own personal timetable.
Maria, do you have a question?
No, I just want to add something to that question. So, hablando de la preparación y el tiempo que se le va a dedicar a la preparación del examen, yo como lo veo como institución y como alguien que ha estado involucrada en la enseñanza por muchos años, si ustedes se preparan para ser oftalmólogos, no tienen que prepararse extra para esto. A ver, ustedes tienen que estudiar para la vida, ustedes tienen que estudiar para sus pacientes. Para el Consejo Mexicano de Oftalmología les va a dar una muy buena base para saber cómo están preparados, porque ustedes tienen que prepararse para el examen de la UNAM o de la institución que los esté avalando. Para el Consejo Mexicano de Oftalmología, para la vida, para los exámenes propios de sus instituciones y además, bueno, para el Ophthalmology Foundation con los beneficios que esto les está dando. Yo no veo por qué esto les debería de requerir más horas de lo que ya deberían de estarse involucrando en su preparación, porque esto es para ustedes, no es para nosotros. Entonces yo no lo vería como cuánto tiempo le voy a invertir. A ver, le están invirtiendo a su preparación y a su enseñanza para toda su vida y para el resto de su vida, y eso es de lo que van a vivir y de a lo que se van a dedicar. Yo no lo vería como un tiempo extra de inversión para esto. Esto creo que es una muy buena guía y una muy buena base para todo lo demás. No sé.
¿A dónde encuentro las preguntas?
Muy bien. Vicky, have we exhausted the questions? I'm also looking at the time. We've reserved an hour and we're just about that.
Yes. Sorry. Yes, so between yourself and Nicola and Valeria, you've pretty much covered all topics of the questions that we had, so we are completely finished on the questions now.
Ok,
Thank
muy
you.
bien. Ok, entonces quiero dar un gran gracias a Dr. Sánchez y Dr. Calfredo Rizzo para asistir, para sus comentarios, para ofrecer este workshop. Y como Nicola comentó, cuando se dirige a la página web de Ophthalmology Foundation, hay todas las materias. Y también si tenéis preguntas, mis compañeros están allá para asistir. Cualquier pregunta pueden asistiros. Entonces somos muy, muy abiertos y queremos ayudar a todos los jóvenes oftalmólogos del mundo. So I just thanking my colleagues and saying whatever questions they have when they're going through the registration process, you're always there to answer those. Sometimes even, tiny little questions, but seem really important. So we hope this will be of interest to many of you, and you'll join many other countries that are moving into gear for offering these exams. And as I commented, it's offered in partnership with the Pan American, and then we have similar partnerships all across the world. The most recent ones being Pakistan, you have Mongolia, we have South Africa, India. The list goes on and on. And locally, West Indies in the Caribbean is probably the nearest to Mexico. Great.
Cualquier
Anything you'd
duda
like to say?
que tengan, también nos abrimos nosotros pregúntenos a mí o a Carlofredo como parte del Ophthalmology Foundation, y si no, nosotros podemos contactarnos con la fundación también si llegara a haber dudas o a través de sus jefes de enseñanza. Pero estamos abiertos a lo que necesiten.
Fantástico. Muy bien. Gracias.
Excuse me.